Hey, it's Joseph Alvarez and Mitos Fuentes. I'm with Cole Roofing and he's with GAF, and together we're going to show you a basic roof installation. Let's get to it.
So let's talk about the shingle system installation. I'm going to talk all the basics. Some of the stuff is going to be a little bit different in some other areas around the country, but basically I'm going to show the most common way to do it. When I say that some areas are going to be different, is because sometimes it's local codes, sometimes it's because we are near the ocean, sometimes it's because we are in high wind areas. So that's why I'm going to just talk about the common situations in a roof and the basic system. All right, so I'm going to start with the drippage. When you have a roof, you have everything nice and clean. The first item that you're going to install is the drippage. Make sure everything is clean. Make sure that there is no debris, no nails or anything like that. So you're going to install the drippage along the eaves. Remember, eaves is where the gutter is most of the times. So I'm going to install one piece of drippage right here. Every time we install a drippage, we need to put in between 8 to 10 inches apart every fastener. And always use nails, no plastic caps, no staples. All right, so every 8 to 10 inches.
Now this is a very important part of your roof system and you have to make sure you do it correctly. This is your first line of defense when a high wind comes. As you can see here, it's 8 to 10 inches. We have 10 right there and 8 right there. Perfect.
All right. Next item, after you install the drippage, we need to install an underlayment. Underlayment is that material that covers the wood. So in this case, we're gonna use this nice underlayment. This is called tiger paw, and this is to cover the wood. So make sure it's gonna be, of course, on top of the drippage because I already nailed the drippage, right? So when you install the underlayments, in this case, this type of materials, it's extremely important to use plastic caps or nail caps instead of staples.
Okay, this product is a GAF Tiger Paw. It's a Class A fire rated underlayment, and it also serves as a moisture protectant. So if you have a multi-family, this is actually needed by code. So give us a call and let's talk about this product.
So after we install the drippage first, directly to the wood, and then we install the deck protector over the drippage, now we're gonna install another piece of drippage, but now it's gonna be along the rakes. So if you have a roof where you have an eave and rake, remember, these are the steps. Number 1, drippage along the eave. Number 2, underlayments. And number 3 is the drippage along the rake. And of course, we have to put it nicely even with this corner, since this is one of the areas where every homeowner is gonna watch, is gonna see. You wanna do a nice detail right here in this corner. So after you have this, remember the rules. In order to install drippage, you need to put the fasteners. You need to install every fastener is in between 8 to 10 inches on center. After this, we're ready for the starters. Just remember, for every shingle, there is a different starter, different pattern. In this case, we're gonna be installing the Timberline series shingles, and we're gonna install the starter. In this case, is Pro Start. Just remember, every starter, you're gonna cut different amount of inches in every starter. But in this one, basically, we're gonna start cutting 5 to 6 inches approximately on the first starter. And the overhand is in between 1/4 of an inch to 3/4 of an inch maximum. And also remember that it's extremely important to have this adhesive right here on the bottom part all the time. All right. How many nails? 4 nails. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Where we're gonna nail approximately is 2.5 to 3 inches from the edge, from the eave. And of course, it has to be solid because sometimes there is a gap in between. Make sure it's solid. Now, what I'm gonna do is install this one because I wanna finish this detail. So I'm gonna install another one right here on this corner, even with the one I already installed, 3/4 of an inch approximately overhanging. And that's what I'm gonna do. What I'm gonna do is install 3 nails, 1, 2, 3, and I'm gonna stop right here because this is extremely important detail. As you can see, we're talking about this adhesive. And in order to follow the same line of adhesive, it's good to cut this shingle in an angle approximately 45 degrees. So that way you can have the adhesive all the way around. Can you see that? Sometimes installers put this over and they leave in a space where the wind can get in. So always cut it in an angle so you can have all the adhesive all the way around. All right.
One of the points I just want to touch on here, this is very important to leave an overhang. You definitely don't want the shingle to butt up against the edge metal there. You want water to drip off and away from your roof and away from your wood and fascia as much as possible. It looks great. Here's we see the thermoplastic adhesion bead all along the starter shingle. And why this is very important, and we'll show you when we install the field shingle, is that the field shingle has that same adhesion strip on the bottom side. So that's double adhesion meeting at the best point of the roof here. And here's that thermoplastic adhesion bond that I was talking about earlier that pairs up with the starter strip thermoplastic adhesion.
All right, so this is what we're gonna use. So when we start the pattern, it's extremely important to follow that pattern. Reason why is because we have different shades, different colors. We have more, brown in one color, a little bit more green in some other areas, you know what I'm saying? So that reason it's extremely important to follow a pattern. So the first shingle, I'm gonna install it and it's gonna be a full shingle. And it's gonna be all right because I already cut the starter. The lines are not gonna be in the same place because we already cut it.
Now, Mitos, one of the biggest problems I see out inspecting roofs is the starter seam and the field shingle seam matching up and causing all kinds of damage at the soffit.
That's why it's extremely important when you install your first starter, it's extremely important to cut 5 to 6 inches when you use this type of shingle. See what I'm saying?
Okay.
Remember, read the instructions before. If you already know what shingle you're gonna use, read the instructions so that way you will know how much you're gonna cut. All right?
All right.
All right. So let's start with the first shingle, which is full shingle. And of course, I'm gonna put it even with the starter because I already know that I have approximately 3/4 of an inch overhang.
Right.
So full shingle. The following shingle, I'm gonna cut 6 inches. The following shingle, I'm gonna cut 11 inches. Then I'm gonna cut 17 inches. But when I do the cuts, I'm gonna do the cuts right here on my left. Why? Because I wanna keep the factory edge. The factory edge is gonna give me a nice line to keep everything nice and straight.
One very important point that Mito's doing here, this HDZ line, the nail line on this shingle, is about a little over an inch here, but he is nailing to the point where you are nailing the shingle and the starter.
I like to use this felt because these squares are 2 inches, so I easily know when are 6 inches. You know what I'm talking about?
I see.
Yeah, so I like that. I like that a lot. So it's approximately 6 inches right there.
Now, as you can see, Mitos is starting from the edge of the roof and the bottom eave part and working his way up. And this is how a roof should be installed.
So we're gonna continue with the pattern, but of course we have this detail in the middle. So just for your info, before I start doing the detail, right here, I should continue with another one, 11 inches, and then 17 inches. So I'm gonna do that later. So what I'm gonna do right now is to start working with this detail. It's like a real world, right? So I'm gonna stop with the pattern right now. And now I'm gonna start working on this detail. So in order to do that, I'm gonna start a couple of shingles right here so we can start doing the detail. So I'm gonna need some protection. I don't need protection under this deck protector. What I need protection is over. So whatever happened around this pipe, the water is gonna run over the shingle. If you made a mistake or the roofer made a mistake and he or she didn't know, they need to make sure that whatever happened, the water is gonna run on top. That is gonna give you peace of mind. So you're gonna bring weather watch, storm guard, leak barrier, and you're gonna put it around the pipe.
And of leaks are around penetrations, plumbing exhausts like this one, and 90% of the time, they're not done this way. And if they are done with ice and water around it, they're not done the correct way.
So reason why this is gonna be over is because if anything happen around here, this is gonna run over this material, right? And then over the shingle.
So our plumbing boot of choice here is a Houston Code lead jack. It's got a larger flange and it's a lot better to hide the fasteners, which is what you want. You don't want to rely on sealant on a roof.
One of the details that I like to work with this is lower it a little bit, the size you're gonna show, the exposed side. The reason why is because if I don't do that right now, it's gonna be very difficult when it's already installed. So I'm gonna do this because what I wanna have is to have everything nice and flat. If I wanna do that after, trust me, it's not gonna look that great.
To do a little bend before installing the actual boot.
Exactly. Property owners, sometimes they're gonna see this gap and they're gonna be kinda, afraid of leaks.
Right.
But in this case, if they don't see any gaps at all, they know for sure it's a good installation. All right?
Absolutely.
So what I did is just to get this plumbing boot through the pipe or over the pipe. What I'm gonna do now is push this inside of the pipe.
And now a lot of people say, hey, is that pipe up there open? Well, going in the pipe, water, rainfall goes in there, that goes to sewage. But anything outside of the pipe will end up in your attic. A lot of the boot jacks that we see out here are the plastic neoprene. In this heat in Houston, those are gonna be beat up, by year 7, 8, 9. This will last at least 25 years.
I already put this inside. I already made this vents, to make sure you're not gonna see a lot of gaps underneath. It's a great boot, and I'm gonna nail it around. So what I'm gonna do is nail it from this point where you're not gonna see the nails later, all the way to the top. All right. So now we're ready for the next shingle. So I already cut this. I'm gonna just put it around. I'm not gonna nail it yet because I wanna see how everything looks. All right, so right there. It's not too close, it's a little bit open, enough space. So now that I know that this is good, I'm gonna put some mastic around it, and that way we're not gonna create a mess with mastic cement around. I like to cover the nail just in case, and at the same time another line, just to have an extra protection. It's important to have a continuous line of mastic cement. Don't leave any spaces in between, so the water is not gonna run in between these lines. So now that I have this ready, I already have this shingle ready, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, so I have this shingle ready. Now I have a full shingle, 6, 11, and 17. In order to start again, we need to start with a full shingle. So I'm gonna start another full shingle, and I'm gonna do this because I wanna finish this detail. All you're gonna do is lower this shingle, put it right on the line, and now we have this detail done. All right. And of course, we need to install another shingle right here. But in order to install a full shingle, we need to come back and install those on the bottom. But this is how approximately it's gonna look, of course, when you have all the shingles. So if you see just this part right here, you can see this detail already done. All right.
Looks great.
All right, so just in few steps, we already show you the basic shingle systems and how to start, right? There are not all the details, but at least to have an idea how to start a roof. We have the pattern, we have all the underlayments. We know that we need the studders. We know that we need that cut in 45 degrees. We cut the shingles, full shingles, 6, 11, 17 inches. And while we were doing that, we have a detail of a pipe. And we did that pipe right there, and the way we're supposed to be doing, you know, all the pipes.
Yeah, sure. And just to touch on real quick, the nailing pattern, very important, keeping the seams away from the nails. Another issue here that we avoided is not having any nails exposed. Very big, important detail. Remember, Joseph with Cole Roofing, thanks Mitos Fuentes from GAF, and stay tuned to our next video. We're gonna talk about the biggest and most common mistake about roofing, your lack of attic ventilation. Thank you.
Thank you.